Howdy campers, just wanted to hop in for a quick one and talk about Canva and shapes. You know, there's a lot of different pieces to graphic design, and we'll get into some of the design principles over the next few workshops. But shapes is definitely a big one. They're just the basic geometry of what we're doing here. So we've got circles, squares, rectangles. Here and there you get into hexagons, octagons, dodecahedrons. Pretty much you can grab whatever shape you want. But mostly we deal with a lot of squares and circles, lines. So let's look at Canva here. All right, so I'm working right now on a client piece for a template. They want attendee quotes. This is a conference that happens a couple times a year, and I get to work with them on some of the different pieces there. So right now, I've got this quote up here, and it's a little bland, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you some of the different aspects of shapes. Let's grab a circle here. If we just click on the circle, it'll drop it right there. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of center it up, and then we're gonna make it a little bit smaller. Now, if you pull from the corner, you can't really warp a circle from any of the corner handles, right? If we wanted to, though, we could squish it into a oval using the edge there. We don't want to, so I'm going to hit Command Z, Control Z for you PC users, but I really just want this to be an outline. You know, the red circle wouldn't work. Obviously, a white circle wouldn't work for us at all. So we're going to go here and we're going to get rid of the fill, okay? On shapes, there's both fill on one side and then there's stroke. And stroke, or border as they call it here, is there. And we can change our border weight. And right here we can change our border color. So we want to make it white. Okay, it's too heavy. Center it there. We'll go back in and we'll look at, I don't know, somewhere in the area 4 or 5. Okay, let's make it a little bit smaller. Me. And I'm trying to, align that. All right, so that looks pretty good. One of the issues is that this background, and this is a background that I made over in Illustrator, which is where I do a lot of my building. And we'll get into Illustrator in future episodes, right? Okay. But my thought here is that perhaps this backing isn't exactly straight, and so optically we've got more space here than we have here, so we're just going to select both of those things. If I hold shift down, I can grab both of them. I have to click on each individually, but if I hold shift, I can grab more than one, and then I'm just going to move those over just a tad. All right, so that's centered there, and optically that's going to work better. We're going to move that down just a hair, and that's pretty good. Now, this is interesting. When I click this, it brings up 4 arrows on the outside. And this isn't helpful in this case, but if you're making some kind of infographic, it'll make really interesting arrows. And then once you let go, each one of these is its own individual piece that can be edited as you'd like. So you could make a really quick infographic with either numbers in here or images. You could go under graphics and find a bunch of icons quite quickly. Let's see. Icons. Let's make it about camp icons. Right, so we could bring those in and we could make kind of an infographic about camp icons if we wanted to. Okay. For now, I don't want to, but I do want to show you a couple of other things here. And this will kind of mess around, right? We get those different options. And with that, we can grab this guy and we can create nice curves. And you could actually kind of make a drawing with this. This is closer to the pen tool that we see in some of the other editing programs, graphic editing programs. So that's pretty handy. Excuse me. The last thing I want to look at real quick here is if we bring in a square, we have the option to change the corner radius. And so that's pretty nice. Right, and then you can do all the same things. We can add a border and have it filled at the same time as well. Though I would be leery about doing that. It's gonna look kind of like an old-timey PowerPoint if you have too much border and color happening at the same time. If you had more like a tone-on-tone kind of thing, then it could help. Let's see here. So if we did something kind of like that, where we actually used a gradient on the outside, but here it's pretty close in color tone, that could work, but depending on what you're doing, I would watch out. So that's a quick rundown on shapes. In the last one, we showed how you could make, with a line, the different ends. And again, you can take those same ends and you could create elbows. You can do quite a bit of stuff with these guys. So pretty awesome in terms of like what you're able to do. I wish Canva had a full-on pen tool. Under here you get, technically it's a pen tool, but it's really just like, we just draw, right? And you can change your line spacing and whatnot. And you can change the kind of pen that you have, but you don't have any kind of line smoothing options. And that's one of the things that is really nice about like an Illustrator is you can really tweak how much it smooths the line. And then you can actually write and it'll smooth out your curves. And depending on how much organic feel you want, you can run that smooth line option back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised if Canva comes out with something like that eventually. With these, what's it doing? Oh, it just threw a line in the middle for us. With these, we could make some cool stuff, right? You can kind of make some shapes, and you really could draw some items. You really could, draw somebody's face. It'd be pretty stylized, but that'd be pretty cool. All right, so that is Canva shapes. Stay tuned on the Canva Graphic Design Camp Substack for more workshops coming your way.